Days before my 25th birthday, I knew my younger sister would make something up to make my parents cancel the whole thing. She had done it for every single milestone in my life. But this time, I was ready. I didn't just anticipate her move. I laid a trap that not only stopped her in her tracks, but exposed a massive secret she'd been hiding for years, blowing our entire family dynamic wide open. To understand the absolute insanity of what went down, you need to understand the dynamic in my house. I, 24F, have always been the scapegoat. My younger sister, Mia, 22F, is the golden child. And when I say golden child, I mean it in the most toxic, eye-rolling, blood-boiling way possible. If Mia sneezed, my parents bought her a new car to make her feel better. If I graduated college with honors while working 2 jobs, my parents would say, "That's nice, but did you hear Mia got cast as a background extra in a local play?" Everything was about Mia. Growing up, anytime the spotlight dared to hover over me for even a fraction of a second, Mia would have a perfectly timed crisis. When I turned 16, I was supposed to have a sweet 16 party. 3 days before the party, Mia miraculously developed severe stomach pains. My parents canceled my party, used the money to pay for unnecessary private medical scans, which found absolutely nothing. Surprise, surprise. And I spent my 16th birthday eating leftover pizza while watching my mom rub Mia's feet. When I graduated high school, Mia broke up with her high school boyfriend the morning of my ceremony. My parents were so busy consoling her that they arrived an hour late and missed me walking across the stage. So, fast forward to this year. I was turning 25, a milestone I actually cared about. For the past 3 years, I had been living in my own apartment, working my absolute tail off at a digital marketing firm and paying for everything myself. I rarely asked my parents for anything because, frankly, I was tired of the strings attached. But out of the blue, my dad called me about a month before my birthday. He sounded unusually affectionate. He told me that he and my mom felt terrible about missing so many of my moments and wanted to make it up to me. They offered to pay for a massive 25th birthday weekend for me and 10 of my closest friends at a luxury cabin up in the mountains. I was skeptical. I actually declined at first, but my mom got on the phone, crying, saying they really wanted to heal our relationship. Against my better judgment, I agreed. The moment I said yes, the countdown in my head began. I knew Mia. I knew she couldn't stand the idea of our parents dropping $5,000 on me. The cabin was booked, the catering was arranged, and my friends were ecstatic. But every time I went to my parents' house for Sunday dinner, I could see Mia seething. Her smiles were tight, her eyes were sharp, and she kept making little passive-aggressive comments like, "It's so nice Mom and Dad are paying for your friends to party. I guess some people just need handouts." I ignored her, but I also prepared myself. I knew she was going to sabotage it. The only question was how. 2 weeks before the trip, I got my answer. I was over at my parents' house, helping my dad fix an issue with his laptop. Mia wasn't home, but she had left her iPad unlocked on the kitchen counter. Now, I'm not usually a snooper, but my phone had died, and I just tapped the iPad screen to check the time. When the screen lit up, it was open to her iMessage thread with her best friend, Sarah. I shouldn't have looked, but my name caught my eye. Mia had texted Sarah, "I'm not letting her have this cabin trip. It's pathetic. I've already started planting the seeds with Mom. I'm gonna pull the trigger on Thursday," Sarah replied. What are you going to do?" Mia. "Mom's vintage sapphire ring. The one she keeps in her vanity but never wears. I'm going to take it, hide it in his apartment when I go over there on Wednesday to drop off her mail. Then on Thursday, I'll tell Mom I saw it on his dresser. Mom will freak out, cancel the trip, and use the cabin deposit for my spring break trip instead. It's foolproof." I stood in the kitchen, my blood running cold. She was going to frame me for theft. And not just any theft. My mom's sapphire ring was a family heirloom. It was the one thing my mom valued above all else. If my parents thought I stole it to pawn it or wear it, they wouldn't just cancel the trip. They would disown me. The sheer malice of it took my breath away. She was willing to destroy my relationship with my parents permanently just to get a spring break trip. At that moment, all the years of playing the bigger person, of swallowing my hurt, of being the quiet, compliant scapegoat just evaporated. I was done. I wasn't just going to stop her. I was going to let her dig her own grave so deep she'd never climb out. I quickly took out my dad's phone, took a picture of the iPad screen showing the messages, airdropped it to myself, and deleted the evidence from my dad's phone. Then, I put the iPad exactly back where it was. The trap was officially set. Wednesday rolled around. Mia texted me asking if she could swing by my apartment to drop off some mail that had gone to my parents' house. I told her the door was unlocked and I was just finishing up a shower. Before she arrived, I made a few adjustments to my bedroom. I have a small, very discreet pet camera on my bookshelf that I usually use to watch my cat when I'm at work. I moved it slightly so it had a perfect, high-definition view of my dresser. I made sure the motion tracking was on and the recording was saving directly to my cloud. When Mia arrived, I called out from the bathroom, "Hey, I'm just doing my hair. I'll be out in a second." "Just toss the mail on the counter." "Okay," she yelled back. Her voice sounded entirely too cheerful. Through the crack in the bathroom door, I watched her reflection in the hallway mirror. She didn't stay in the kitchen. She crept directly into my bedroom. My phone buzzed in my hand, the pet camera app notifying me of motion in the bedroom. I opened the live feed and watched my sister, clear as day in 1080p, pull a small velvet pouch out of her purse. She slipped the sapphire ring out, placed it inside my top jewelry box on my dresser, and then quickly walked back out to the living room. "All right, I gotta run! See you at family dinner tomorrow!" she called out, slamming the front door behind her. I walked out of the bathroom, went straight to my dresser, and opened the jewelry box. There it was, the sapphire ring. I didn't touch it. I left it exactly where she put it. I exported the video from the camera app and saved it to 3 different places. I now had the text messages and the video of her planting the ring, but I wasn't done. I wanted absolute, undeniable destruction of her golden child facade. You see, Mia had another secret. A secret I had discovered months ago, but kept to myself because it wasn't my business. Mia was supposed to be in her final year of college, studying finance. My parents were paying her full tuition, her rent, and giving her a generous allowance. But a friend of mine who works in the university's registrar's office had accidentally let it slip at a party that Mia wasn't enrolled. She had actually flunked out 3 semesters ago. Mia had been faking going to college for a year and a half. She had been taking my parents' tuition money, tens of thousands of dollars, and funneling it into her own lifestyle, partying and going on trips. I hadn't said anything because I knew my parents would somehow find a way to blame me for it, or they would just cover it up. But now it was ammunition. Thursday evening arrived, the night of the weekly family dinner, the night Mia planned to drop the bomb. I arrived at my parents' house feeling a dangerous kind of calm. My parents were in the kitchen, cooking. Mia was sitting at the dining table, practically buzzing with nervous, malicious energy. We sat down to eat. We barely got through the salad before Mia cleared her throat. She put on her best, most concerned, innocent face, the one that always worked on my parents. "Mom, Dad," she started, her voice trembling slightly. "I have something really awful to tell you. I didn't want to say anything, but it's been eating me alive." My parents immediately dropped their forks. "What is it, sweetie? Are you okay?" my dad asked, rushing to her side. Mia looked at me, a fake tear welling in her eye. "It's about. When I was at her apartment yesterday, dropping off the mail, I needed to borrow a hair tie. I went into her room to look in her dresser, and, Mom, I saw your sapphire ring in her jewelry box." The room went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. My mom's face went completely white. She looked at me, then back at Mia. No, that's impossible. It's in my vanity. Mom, go check," Mia urged, her voice thick with fake sympathy. "Please, just go check." My mom practically sprinted upstairs. The silence in the dining room was deafening. My dad was staring at me with a look of pure, unadulterated disgust. Mia kept her head down, but I could see the faintest smirk playing on her lips. A minute later, my mom came downstairs. She was hyperventilating, tears streaming down her face. "It's gone," she choked out. "The ring is gone." My dad slammed his hands on the table, standing up. He pointed a finger at my face. "You ungrateful, selfish thief. We offer to pay for a massive birthday trip for you. We try to mend this family, and you steal from your own mother? To do what? Pawn it? Fund your pathetic friends?" "Dad, I didn't." I started, keeping my voice remarkably calm. "Don't you dare lie to me," he roared. "Mia saw it. The trip is canceled. I'm calling the venue right now and getting my money back. And you are going to go back to your apartment, get that ring, bring it back here, and then I never want to see you again. You are no longer my daughter." Mia let out a little sob, burying her face in her hands. It was an Oscar-worthy performance. I took a sip of my water. I slowly set the glass down. "Are you done?" I asked my dad. He looked taken aback by my tone. "Excuse me?" "I asked if you're done throwing a tantrum before looking at the facts," I said, my voice dripping with ice. "Because before you cancel my trip, and before you disown me, I think you should look at the group chat I just made." I pulled out my phone and created a group chat with my mom, my dad, and Mia. I hit send on the first file. Ding, ding, ding. Their phones went off simultaneously on the table. "What is this?" my mom asked, wiping her eyes. "Open it," I commanded. My dad grabbed his phone. He clicked on the image. It was the screenshot of Mia's iMessage conversation with Sarah. I watched my dad's eyes dart back and forth as he read the words. "Mom's vintage sapphire ring. Hide it in her apartment. Tell Mom I saw it. Cancel the trip. Use the deposit for my spring break." The color slowly drained from my dad's face. He looked at Mia, who was suddenly frozen, staring at her own phone screen in absolute terror. "Mia, what is this?" my dad asked, his voice barely a whisper. "It's fake!" Mia shrieked immediately, her panic spiking. "She photoshopped that! She's trying to frame me because she got caught!" She's always been jealous of me. My mom looked at me, desperate to believe her golden child. "Did you make this up?" I didn't say a word. I just tapped my phone again. Ding, ding, ding. I sent the video file. "Watch that one," I said, leaning back in my chair. My parents pressed play. The audio from my apartment filled the silent dining room. Hey, I'm just doing my hair. I'll be out in a second. Just toss the mail on the counter. Okay. Then, crystal clear on the screen, they watched their precious, innocent Mia walk directly into my bedroom. They watched her pull the velvet pouch out of her purse. They watched her take out the sapphire ring. They watched her deliberately place it inside my jewelry box. The video ended. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating, and absolutely glorious. Mia looked like she was going to throw up. She was shaking, her eyes wide, staring at the phone like it was a bomb that had just gone off. My mother let out a sound I had never heard before, a strange, gutted gasp. She dropped her phone on the table. You stole my ring? To frame your sister? Mom, I can explain, Mia stammered, tears now falling for real. It was just a joke. It was a prank. I was gonna give it right back. A prank? My dad exploded, his face turning an alarming shade of purple. You just sat there and watched me disown your sister. You plotted to have her framed for a felony so you could go on a spring break trip? Dad, please. But wait, I interrupted, my voice cutting through the chaos like a knife. There's more. Mia whipped her head toward me, her eyes pleading. Don't, she mouthed. I didn't care. I was burning the whole house down. Since we're on the topic of Mia's lies and where my birthday money should actually go, I said, looking directly at my parents. Did Mia ever tell you how her midterms went last month? My mom frowned, confused by the pivot. What? Yes, she got A's. What does that have to do with this? She didn't get A's. Mom, I said smoothly, because she hasn't been in school for 3 semesters. She flunked out a year and a half ago. My parents froze. The oxygen left the room again. What are you talking about? My dad demanded. She's lying! She's a liar! Mia screamed, standing up so fast her chair tipped backward and crashed onto the floor. She's just trying to ruin my life! I have the email from the university registrar forwarded to my inbox if you'd like me to send it to the group chat as well, I offered sweetly. She was academically dismissed. So, Mom, Dad, all that tuition money you've been sending her for the last 3 semesters? The rent money for the apartment near campus? The textbook money? It didn't go to the school. Where did it go, Mia? My parents turned in unison to look at Mia. The betrayal on their faces was biblical. All the years of worshiping this girl, all the years of pushing me aside, had just culminated in the realization that their golden child was a manipulative, thieving con artist. Mia, my dad said, his voice deadly quiet. Is it true? Mia looked at the door, then back at them. She burst into hysterical, hyperventilating sobs. I didn't want to disappoint you! You expect so much from me! It was too hard! She had just confessed to embezzling tens of thousands of dollars from our parents. The fallout was nuclear. My dad started screaming. My mom started crying uncontrollably, demanding to know where her money was. Mia was having a full-blown toddler meltdown on the kitchen floor, wailing about how stressed she was and how everyone was ganging up on her. I sat there for another 5 minutes, just watching the chaos unfold. It was like watching a beautiful, destructive symphony that I had orchestrated. Finally, I stood up. I reached into my purse, pulled out the velvet pouch containing the sapphire ring, and gently placed it on the table in front of my mother. Here is your ring, Mom, I said quietly. They both stopped shouting and looked at me. There was so much shame in my dad's eyes that he couldn't even meet my gaze. My mom reached out for my hand, her face crumpled in agony. I am so sorry. We had no idea. We don't, I said, pulling my hand away. You didn't have no idea. You chose not to see it. You chose to believe the worst of me for 24 years so you could believe the best of her. And even tonight, you were ready to throw me away forever based on her word, without a single shred of proof. Please, my dad begged, tears welling in his eyes. We'll fix this. The trip is still on. We'll pay for double the friends. We'll do whatever you want. I looked at them, and for the first time in my life, I felt absolutely nothing for them. No anger, no desire for their approval. Just pity. Cancel the trip, I said. I don't want your money. I don't want your cabin. I'm going to spend my 25th birthday with people who actually care about me. I walked toward the front door. Mia was still sobbing on the floor. I stopped, looking down at her one last time. Have fun paying back that tuition, Mia, I smiled. I walked out the front door, got into my car, and drove away. That was a month ago. I spent my 25th birthday in Vegas with my 3 best friends. We stayed in a cheap hotel, drank too much tequila, and laughed until our ribs hurt. I paid for it all myself, and it was the best birthday of my entire life. As for my family, it's a war zone. My parents didn't kick Mia out, but they did cut off her credit cards, took away her car, and are forcing her to get a full-time minimum wage job to slowly pay back the tuition money she stole. My mom sends me long, groveling texts every single day, begging me to come to family therapy with them. My dad leaves voicemails apologizing. I haven't responded to a single one. I blocked Mia on everything. I finally cut the cord. I used to be angry that I was the scapegoat, but looking back, I realized it was a blessing in disguise. It taught me how to be independent, how to survive, and most importantly, how to outsmart a golden child. I might have lost my family, But for the first time in 25 years, I finally have peace. And honestly, that's the best birthday present I could have ever asked for.